I would not allow public health to be used as a pretext to advance the march of global government. That's what they're doing, globalists. The United States will withdraw from the corrupt World Health Organization.
When I did Rocky, if you remember, the first image was a picture of Jesus, and it says Resurrection AC Club. I found a church that had been converted to a boxing ring. So the image pans down from Jesus onto Rocky being hit. And at that moment, he was a chosen person, and that's how I began the journey. Something was going to happen. This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump. We are in the presence of a really mythical character. I love mythology. And this individual does not exist on this planet. Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe. And I'll just say this, and I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations!
Do you have anyone that is pressuring you to not work with him? Have there been people that are reaching RFK Jr.?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine. Because financially, he could put a dent.
I would say that, and you know, I think in many ways they've done a good job. In many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the Big Pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that, you know, I have a relation. I've actually always gotten along very well with him.
Are we allowing this to happen to our children? These are the most precious assets that we have in this country. How can we let this happen to them? About 18% of American teens now have fatty liver disease. That's like 1 out of every 5. That disease, when I was a kid, only affected late-stage alcoholics who were elderly. Cancer rates are skyrocketing in the young and the old. Young adult cancers are up 79%. 1 in 4 American women is on antidepressant medication. 40% of teens have a mental health diagnosis. And 15% of high schoolers are on Adderall, and 500,000 children on SSRIs. So what's causing this suffering? I'll name 2 culprits. First, and the worst, is ultra-processed food. About 70% of American children's diet is ultra-processed. That means industrial manufactured in a factory. These foods consist primarily of processed sugar, ultra-processed grains, and seed oils. Laboratory scientists who many of them formerly worked for the cigarette industry, which purchased all the big food companies in the 1970s and 80s, deployed thousands of scientists to figure out new chemicals to make the food more addictive. And these ingredients didn't exist 100 years ago. Humans aren't biologically adapted to eat them. Hundreds of these chemicals are now banned in Europe, but ubiquitous in American processed foods. The second culprit is toxic chemicals in our food, our medicine, and our environment. Pesticides, food additives, pharmaceutical drugs, and toxic waste permeate every cell of our bodies. The assault on our children's cells and hormones is unrelenting. To name just one problem, many of these chemicals increase estrogen because young children are ingesting so many of these hormone disruptors. America's puberty rate is now occurring at age 10 to 13, which is 6 years earlier than girls were reaching puberty in 1900. Our country has the earliest puberty rates of any continent on the earth. And no, this isn't because of better nutrition. This is not normal. Breast cancer is also estrogen driven, and it now strikes 1 in 8 women. We are mass poisoning all of our children and our adults.
The World Health Organization has become nothing more than a corrupt globalist scam paid for by the United States For this reason, it was my great honor to terminate America's relationship with the World Health Organization. It deserves to be completely abolished and replaced. Then I will work to forge a new coalition of nations that are strongly committed to protecting health while also upholding sovereignty and freedom.
So this whole woke era is over.
You're right. I mean, they only are effective when they work in perfect harmony together. And now they're all divided and arguing with each other, and they're not on offense. They're canceling each other. And that's probably a good thing. Is it really official? You believe it's official? We're never going back to cancel culture. We're never going back to political correctness. You're calling it right here?
Well, I'm saying you need that. I mean, when you look at mob mentality and the things that have happened, like the tulip mania hundreds of years ago, the burning of the witches in Salem, there needed to be a mob mentality momentum. And if you don't have that, it dies out. And I'm talking about, yes, things have changed politically, obviously, but it's spiritual. It's a spiritual shift. It started a little bit when Elon Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X. And it really changed when Donald Trump won this presidency. I can feel it. Definitely.
I can feel it too. There's also an excitement. And I don't know whether it's about the decisive victory or if it's about the way he's rolling out these cabinet officials. There's a promise in the air where people are expecting major change. And you're kind of on the edge of your seat because you don't know how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. But people expect it to happen. Are you feeling that too?
Yeah, for the last 4 years, very acutely, and I know it preceded these 4 years as well, but there's been kind of a pressing down and kind of limiting what people can say. And what happens too is you limit what can even occur in society. And so there's been a stagnation. Things haven't been moving forward in the arts, in philosophy, in politics, in medicine, in anything. And I don't mean technically did things, were there technological advances or anything like that. I mean innovation, like with your thoughts, with what is coming into your spirit from God, magic, the universe, whatever you want to call it. That's been stagnated for at least 4 years. And now that's changed. And that's what I'm really excited about. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
It's a brilliant observation. And I've noticed it too, that culture is stuck. They keep making repeats of every movie. Every TV show's a repeat. There's no creativity in Hollywood, in literature, in the arts. As you mentioned, you've noticed it more than anybody, I'm sure. But it's great to get those juices flowing again and get the spirits unbound.